So good day. Today we will be discussing hemoflagellates, specifically Leishmania.
The learning outcomes of this discussion is to distinguish the morphology of Leishmania tropica, Leishmania brasiliensis, and Leishmania donovani, to discover the similarities and differences of the parasites through its generalities and in-depth discussions, to understand the life cycle of the parasites, to assess the diagnostic methods and treatments for these parasitic infections, to determine the epidemiology of the parasites, and to understand the importance of prevention and control.
So before we discuss Leishmania specifically, here is the outline of the presentation today. So first we will be discussing hemoflagellates, specifically the medically important species and its 4 morphological forms. Next we will be discussing the 2 morphological forms of Leishmania. We'll also be discussing the generalities and life cycles of Leishmania, the 3 species, L. tropica, brasiliensis, and donovani, the epidemiology, prevention, and control. So hemoflagellates. What are hemoflagellates? Hemoflagellates are flagellates found in the blood, tissues, and the CSF, or cerebrospinal fluid. It has 2 medically important species, your Leishmania and your Trypanosoma, and has 4 morphological forms, but only 2 are applicable to Leishmania, while all 4 are applicable to trypanomastigotes. These 2 morphological forms applicable to Leishmania are amastigote and promastigote, while the other 2 are epimastigote and trypanomastigote.
The first morphological form that we're going to discuss is the promastigote. It is also called the leptomonas. It is a flagellar stage. It occurs in the digestive tract of the sandfly. It divides in binary fission. It is spindle-shaped, as you can see in the picture. It is elongated, and it is in the infective stage, the vertebrates. The second morphological form we're going to discuss is the amastigote. It's also called the Donovan Leishman body. It's a flagellar stage. It is the intracellular stage, meaning it is phagocytized by phagocytic cells, namely the macrophages. It is oval-shaped, divided by binary fission, and it is an infective stage, the vector, which are the sandflies.
So now for the generalities of Leishmania, but before we start that, take note that Leishmania species cannot be differentiated as they are morphologically similar. So for the infective stage of Leishmania, we have the promastigotes. The diagnostic stage are amastigotes. The vectors are female phlebotomous SPP or Lutzomia. The difference being phlebotomous SPP causes old world leishmaniasis, which occur in southern part of the US and is caused by L. tropica, while Lutzomia causes new world leishmaniasis, which occur in Europe, which is caused by L. brasiliensis, sorry. The final hosts are man, wild rodents, and canine, and the drug of choice are antimony compounds and liposomal amphotericin B. So for the mode of transmission, the most common mode of transmission are the bites of vector. But there are also cases wherein blood transfusion, contact, and congenital transmission was used as a mode of transmission of Leishmania. So for the life cycle of Leishmania or Leishmaniasis, it starts when the sandfly or any vector ingests blood from the final host as a meal. So when the fly ingests blood, it gives the final hosts promastigotes. These promastigotes then divide and turn into amastigotes, infecting macrophages. Once the sandfly or the vector once again takes a meal, it ingests these amastigotes. They go to the gut of the vector, multiply, and become promastigotes. They then multiply and migrate to the proboscis, repeating the cycle all over again. Leishmania has 3 pathologies, namely cutaneous, mucocutaneous, and visceral leishmaniasis. So what are the differences? So cutaneous leishmaniasis are caused by your Leishmania tropica, major, Ethiopica, and mexicana, while your mucocutaneous leishmaniasis are caused by Leishmania brasiliensis. Lastly, your visceral leishmaniasis are caused by Leishmania donovani, infatum, and chagassi.
The first Leishmania species we're going to discuss is the Leishmania tropica. Its common names are Old World Leishmaniasis, Aleppo, Baghdad, Delhi, or Jericho boil. Its habitat is in the skin capillaries. Its pathology, as said earlier, is a cutaneous leishmaniasis. Its epidemiology is in Afghanistan, Brazil, Iran, Peru, Saudi Arabia, and Syria. Its pathology, as said earlier, it's the cutaneous leishmaniasis. It's described as a painless elevated skin ulcers. It is also called the oriental button. As you can see in the picture, it has elevated sides and has a crater for the center. And as it grows, it becomes an ulcer.
So the second species that we'll be discussing is the Leishmania brasiliensis. So its common name is New World Leishmaniasis, and its habitat is in the tissue of the nose and other mucous membranes. Its pathology, mucocutaneous leishmaniasis, and an additional drug of choice aside from those that were mentioned earlier is pyromomycin. Its epidemiology, specifically in the south of the US, are Brazil, eastern Peru, Bolivia, Paraguay, Ecuador, and Colombia. Its pathology, as said earlier, is the mucocutaneous leishmaniasis. So what occurs when one has this? So the patient suffers ulcers on mouth, nose, and lips, and there is aspondia, meaning there is nasal stuffiness, discharge, epistaxis, and the destruction of nasal septum. The patient may also experience blockage of airway, specifically aspiration pneumonia.
The last Leishmania species we're going to discuss is the Leishmania donovani. Its common name is Kala azar, dum-dum fever, and black fever. Its habitat is the reticular endothelial system. Its pathology is the visual leishmaniasis. Its additional diagnostic tests are serological testing and formal gel tests. Additional drug of choice are pyromomycin and miltefosine. It's more commonly found in Bangladesh, Brazil, India, Nepal, and Sudan. Its pathology consists of three phases: the acute phase, the subacute phase, and the chronic phase. The acute phase consists of double quotidian fever spikes, meaning you have 2 fevers per day, and you will also experience chills. Subacute and chronic phase both have fever, weakness, loss of appetite, and abdominal enlargement. Another pathology of visceral leishmaniasis is the black fever. You will have dark urine, and you will also have dark discoloration of the skin. As you can see on the picture, the child has black fever.
So for the diagnosis of leishmaniasis, firstly, or the most basic diagnosis method is biopsy and microscopy. So what samples can we proceed under biopsy? So there is skin, tissues, spleen, lymph nodes, and bone marrow. Next is the Montenegro skin test. So what is done in a Montenegro skin test? So Montenegro skin test measures the reaction of a patient through an intradermal injection of a suspension of dead promastigotes. So as said earlier, Leishmania species cannot be differentiated. So isoenzyme analysis is used to differentiate these species to determine what type of species infects the patient. But the gold standard for differentiation is MLEE, or multi-locus enzyme electrophoresis. Serological tests can also be done such as your IFAT, ELISA, and RK39 dipstick test. And if one wants to culture, you can do Novi McNeil-Nicole culture. So for the epidemiology, leishmaniasis is seen across 88 countries in over 4 continents. It affects more than 12 million people, and there is a record of approximately 1 to 1.5 million new cases annually. Leishmaniasis can also be directly correlated to poverty, as the environmental factors or the lifestyle of people who suffer poverty promote leishmaniasis. Visceral leishmaniasis and AIDS are also correlated because VL hastens the reproduction of HIV, which quickens the occurrence of AIDS. And although there are reported cases in the Philippines, UPM says that these cases are important cases because although they are diagnosed within the country, they were infected overseas.
Prevention and control. As of now, no vaccines or drugs to prevent infection are available. Avoid outdoor activities, especially from dusk till dawn, as the sandflies are more active in those times. Stay in well-screened or air-conditioned areas. Keep in mind that sandflies are much smaller than mosquitoes and therefore can get through smaller holes. Spray living or sleeping areas with insecticide to kill the insects. If you are not sleeping in a well-screened or air-conditioned area, use bed net or colombo and tuck it under your mattress. These are our references. So this would be our activity after the discussion. It is called to e feud. The mechanics of this game are the class is divided into 2 groups. Each group will have to pick a representative to participate. The 2 players will play rock, paper, scissors. The player who lost would have to answer a question. If the question is presented on the screen. If the player answered wrong or is unable to answer, the player would have to dance in front of the class after the game. Another representative of each group will play until 5 pairs have participated.